Rick and Morty's 5th season has come to an end, and as the series prepares for its 6th and beyond, now is the greatest moment to reflect on how far the series has progressed throughout this most recent season. But first, subscribe the our channel. Season 5 of the fan-favorite Adult Swim cartoon series, which premiered earlier this summer, has been markedly different from the previous seasons. It was a wild voyage, tossing out most of the canonical status quo modifications made in Season 4 in favor of shifting the focus. Number 10. Rickdependence Spray. It's unlikely that anyone will be surprised by the decision for the worst episode of the season. Some fans may argue on where Rickdependence Spray ranks among their favorite episodes of the season, but it's unlikely to be at the top for the majority of viewers. Not only did it get the most vociferous negative reaction during the season, but it was also the series' first true case of going too far. While it shares the same primary idea as many of the series' best episodes in terms of running with a single joke until it reaches an overblown conclusion, the central joke here began in such a dark place that the series could only go further with it in order to outdo it. By the end of it, it had gone from grossly curious to outrageously unpleasant. Number 9. Rick and Morty's Thanksploitation Spectacular. The main idea of Thanksploitation Spectacular is also based on taking a single joke and running with it. It's a more fascinating joke since it uses the Thanksgiving holiday as a backdrop for an adventure centered on Rick and the president's animosity, but the gags don't always land in the escalation of it. The joke about the smart turkeys is a little one-note, and the seasonal motif nearly detracts from it. As both incarnations of the president, Keith David gets to say a lot of crazy things, but there's something missing in the climactic showdown. Number 8. Mortyplicity. Season 5's Mortyplicity is a vignette collection episode similar to previous seasons' Interdimensional Cable, Morty's Mind Blowers, and Never Ricking Morty. It's a fast-paced episode packed of gags and ideas that never feel like they're overstaying their welcome. The practice of seeing several storylines and settings for the Smith family begins with the mystery of who might be tracking them down, but quickly escalates into the type of craziness you'd expect. Unfortunately, when compared to the rest of the season's episodes, there's just nothing to connect with. The novelty of the many varieties of Smith families and their deaths wears off swiftly as well. Better humor than the episodes at the bottom of the list, but less information than the episodes after that. It also doesn't help that it comes second in the season after a fantastic pilot. Number 7. Gotron Jerrysis Rickvangelion. Gotron Jerrysis Rickvangelion is another example of the series going with a single joke to an overblown climax, but unlike the episodes below, this one features Rick and the entire Smith family. It's one of the show's first true forays into anime, unlike the previous full anime shorts, and while this results in a few eerie references, it doesn't exactly set the tone for the rest of the episode. Instead, there's a fun riff on mafia film tropes and yet another examination of Rick and Summer's unique dynamic. It also receives bonus points for having a surprising tie-in to Rickdependence Spray. Canon wasn't exactly the primary focus at this point in the season. Thanks to this extra touch of novelty, it manages to take the huge incest baby joke to a whole new level of hilariousness, and it all comes together in a way that feels fitting for the anime flavors throughout. Those Voltron gags may have run their course, but they still work better than some of the season's worst. Number 6. Forgetting Sarick Mortshall. The season's penultimate episode took away most of the crazier one-shot jokes from the previous episodes, focusing instead on the main duo. This season had been lined on storylines centered on Rick and Morty's evolving relationship, but there had been clues that a split was emerging between the two of them. Thankfully, the episode in which they broke up was pleasurable to watch in and of itself. While the rebound relationships that resulted from their breakup weren't as pleasant as one might think after such a significant event, they did serve an essential function in educating Rick about how toxic he and Morty are to one another. It's better served as part of the season finale as a whole, and as a direct follow-up to Rickturnal Friendshine of the Spotless Mort, which is why it's not higher on this list. However, it's an essential step in terms of the series' overall future because these character changes can linger around while the rest of the show remains episodic and ever-changing. Number 5. Mort Dinner Rick Andre. The 5th season has gotten off to a fantastic start. Unfortunately, there were no ties to Season 4's finale, and portions of that finale weren't addressed until much later in the season, so it gets a pass for that, but it's one of the series' finer solo episodes. It has everything a good Rick and Morty episode should have. There are tiny indications of canonical lore with the introduction of Rick's competitor, a strange new character with seed rival. Morty acts like a selfish teen with funny repercussions, and there's stuff for practically every character to do. The only reason it doesn't quite make it into the top 5 is that the next 4 episodes will focus a little more on character development. The fact that it's a premiere is unfortunately a hindrance to the premiere episode. Although this is nitpicking, the fact that it was the first episode means it couldn't exactly deliver on all of the emotional stakes that following episodes would. It accomplishes what it needed to begin Season 5, but that's all it can do. Number 4, Amortycan Grickfitti. Amortycan Grickfitti is jam-packed with one-off gags and concepts. The distinction between this episode and the other vignette-filled episodes is what the series excels at. The relationships between each character are at the heart of all of the Hellraiser, Transformers, Marvel, and other parodies. This is one of the few occasions we get to see Rick examine Jerry from a fresh perspective, and like previous episodes between them, it's fairly eye-opening and propels their relationship in a new direction. The same can be said regarding Jerry's connection with Beth, which is something we don't see much of throughout the season. Morty and Summer also have a wonderful excursion on their own, and it's a dynamic we don't get to see much of during the season. It's perhaps the best example of the season of using all of the characters while maintaining the series' trademark blend of character growth, weird concepts, and outlandish science fiction fantasy notions. Although the humor aren't as good as some of the other shows this season, it gets so much else right. Number 3, Rickmurai Jack. The season had a terrific start and a great finish, just like it had a great start. The Season 5 finale was satisfying in a lot of ways, as it finally delivered on some of the long-awaited revelations. It's undoubtedly one of the best episodes of the season, and it merits a place among the best episodes of all time for what it does. However, because of how many of those reveals it crams into the second half, it falls short of the summit. It's a season finale that capitalizes on the build-up from previous seasons, but it suffers from the same flaw that most season finales do. It doesn't quite hold up as a standalone episode, especially when combined with the first half, Sarick Mortshall, for the full experience, and the reveals are delivered at a breakneck pace, leaving little time to fully absorb everything on first viewing. It's a fantastic episode to analyze, and it makes the top 3, but not quite. Number 2, A Rickconvenient Mort. Early in the season's run, the sitcom truly sank its heels into the duo's emotional evolution. A Rickconvenient Mort takes the outlandish concept of Morty dating a Captain Planet parody and turns it into one of the most engaging episodes in the entire series. It pushed Morty emotionally in ways he'd never been pushed before, and it looked into his first true dating and relationship experiences. While it didn't end well, in an explosive fashion suitable for this series, Rick and Morty didn't negate all of Morty's emotional growth with a joke. It's the series' first truly adult episode. It's even more bizarre when you consider Morty's role in bringing it about, as well as the apocalyptic debauchery B storyline for Rick and Summer in the same episode. There's certainly a lot of fun to be had, but it's the calmer, more grounded moments that really make this one stand out and land. Number 1, Rickturnal Friendshine of the Spotless Mort. Season 5's Rickturnal Friendshine of the Spotless Mort was a highly unexpected turning point. It was not only the final episode before a multi-week hiatus, but it was also the first episode of the season to address any of the serialized canon from previous seasons, unless you count the brief Space Beth shout-out in the second episode. This one picked up where the Season 4 finale left off, with Rick delving into Bird Person's memories. What do you think about this video? Comment below, and if you like, subscribe and share with your friends. Thanks for watching.